Part 2, we broke down what it means to be born spiritually dead and God's desire to have relationship with man, spirit to spirit. In this teaching, we will look at why we need to be born again spiritually. Again, we are using Legos to illustrate the three different parts of man and how they relate to each other and to God. Welcome back, man's spirit, man's soul, and man's body. Now, which part of man do you believe is synonymous with the nature of man? We believe that man's spirit is synonymous with the nature of a man, since man's spirit is the part of man which is created in the image of God and is eternal. Consider man's spirit like the root of the man. Mankind was originally created to live in a healthy, life-giving relationship and dependence upon God, the creator, provider, and sustainer of life. When mankind decided not to follow God's ways, but to follow after Satan's suggestions, mankind gave their authority over the earth to Satan. This caused the original relationship with God to become broken and ultimately led to mankind's spiritual death, which means not knowing God. After this event, called the fall, humanity was born not knowing God. The Bible talks about the fruit of a life which knows God and the fruit of a life which doesn't know God. If the spirit of a man is the root or nature of a man, which part of man do you think the fruit shows in? The fruit shows through the body of a man, what we say and what we do. The Bible describes the fruit of a life which doesn't know God as things such as lying, gossiping, slandering, stealing, cheating, gluttony, hating, murder, selfishness, adultery, and much, much more. Think about small children. Are they born entirely selfless, or do you have to teach them not to do things, not to hit when frustrated, not to lie when afraid of being caught, not to be selfish but to share? This fruit comes from the root or nature of a person. The spiritually dead person produces this fruit, as can be seen early in a person's life from our spiritually dead nature, and it manifests outwardly in the world through our bodies by what we say and do. God's standards for life are very high, and according to God's law, the fruits of a life which doesn't know God are capital offense crimes, which mean the punishment is death. Not just the eventual death we all experience in our body, but death to man's spirit. Death to man's spirit means not having a relationship with God, and therefore not having eternal life. God is life. I love the cliche bumper sticker, no God, no life. No God, no life. God's original intent and plan was that man would live forever and never know sin, sickness, or death. The only reason we know these things is because of the choices that the first man and first woman made to serve Satan instead of to serve God. Even though man rebelled against God and introduced sin, sickness, and death into the world, God created a plan to redeem and save mankind from sin, sickness, and death. In our next teaching, we will see the plan of God and how it was put into place to save us from the fruits of a life without knowing God, and so that we could be born again spiritually and have eternal life.